I appreciate you having me on. Please bear with me. My brain is mush. It's just that time of year. August, September, October is very busy for me. I've been trying to finish up all of our freshmen that are here now. Then I'm also starting to work on spring kids that are coming in the spring, which is in January. And I'm actually working on next year's kids too. So we just go from one season to the next to the next. I'm sure some of you have heard, if not all of you have heard, North Carolina A&T is now home of J.R. Smith, who is a former 15-year NBA basketball player, two-time NBA champion. He is now a member of the North Carolina A&T golf team. He is on our golf team, our men's golf team. He actually competed his first time this past week. If you saw it on the news, ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, all those guys talked about him competing. I was the one, and I'm the one at this office. I'm the one who got J.R. Smith eligible to compete in golf at North Carolina A&T. Give you some background on JR. JR was one of the last, if you don't remember, if you don't know, JR was one of the last NBA players who went to the NBA directly out of high school. He graduated in 2000, 2001, that area. So it's been almost 20 years since he was in high school. Some of the challenges that I faced and we faced in this office and JR faced was he had gone to several different high schools, not by his own choice necessarily, but some of his high schools had been consolidated into other high schools. So we could talk to the last high school, we could talk to a physical high school that was still actually there, but there were several of his high schools that no longer existed. So therefore his records no longer existed. We worked with the NBA Players Association, their legal office. We worked with the Archdiocese of New Jersey. We worked with every high school counselor, teacher, anybody that we could get a hold of over the summer to get JR eligible. So we did do that. He is now eligible to play golf. If you don't know the rules, there are certain circumstances where a professional athlete can participate going back to college or going to college. You can be a professional in one sport, but be certified as an amateur in another sport and participate in that. So JR was certified as amateur for both golf and football. He will not play football here, but he was declared an amateur in football by the NCAA when he was declared an amateur for golf, because he'd never played any kind of professional football either. So he was, from what I hear, football was a pretty good sport for him in high school too. So he just went ahead and had his amateur and certified as a football player. So that was one of the highlights of my career. Actually, I've been doing this for 30 years. So I'm on the back end. I only got a couple more years. So that was a pretty good one to finish up with. So we have an NBA player on our golf team. He had to go through all the stuff that you have to go through. So he was J.R. Smith on the basketball court, but to me, he was Earl Joseph Smith III, freshman, trying to get in and play golf. The NCAA Eligibility Center is where you begin your journey to become a NCAA Division I or II athlete. Their website is eligibilitycenter.org, one word. This is something that you need to register with. You need to go ahead and do that. It doesn't matter what grade you're in, 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th. Hopefully you have done it before your 12th grade. The Eligibility Center is the one that you register with. You answer all the questions that they need answered. You fill out all the forms that you need to fill out, and you start sending in your transcripts. They usually try to ask you to wait until you have at least 3 semesters of high school work. So sometime between the middle of your 10th year, please start sending in your transcripts, and please send in any transcripts that you get at the end of each year. They will start looking at your stuff. They will start looking at all of your transcripts, all of your, let me see, I can actually share this screen. Let me see if I can share that screen. If you can see that screen, this is what the NCAA is looking for. For you to be a qualifier out of high school, you have to complete 16 core courses. Now, those 16 core courses are 4 years of English, 3 years of math, algebra 1 or higher, 2 years of natural or physical science, including at least 1 year of a lab. You have to have a lab, a biology lab, chemistry, botany, whatever. Physical science, if you have a course that has a lab, you have to have at least 1 lab out of those 2 years. You need 1 year of additional courses, which is 1 extra year of English, math, or science. And most people, because you have to have 4 years of English and 3 years of math, most people use that additional course that comes from your natural or physical science. You can have physical science, biology, then chemistry. That's what a lot of kids do. So, but it could be an extra math, it could be an extra English, literature class, that kind of thing. You need 2 years of social science. That's your sociology, psychology, history, any kind of things like that, liberal studies kind of courses. And you need 4 additional credits. Now, those 4 could come from anything of the other ones that we talked about, the English, math, the natural science, or social science. It could also include your foreign languages. It also could include your non-doctrinal religion classes, that kind of thing. If you do not know if a core or if you do not know if a class is a core class, please go to your guidance counselor at your high school and ask if this is a core class. You see on the screen there, for you to be a qualifier, you have to pass 16 core courses like we talked about. 10 of those core courses, 10 of them have to come before your senior year. So before your 7th semester. Your senior year is your 7th and 8th semester of high school, because 9th grade is 1, 2, 10th grade is 3, 4, 11th grade is 5, 6. So before your 7th semester, you have to have completed at least 10 of those core courses. 7 of them have to be English, math, or science. So you can't load up on foreign languages. You can't load up on your liberal studies. You need to have at least 7 of the 10 be your English, math, or science. Now you see also there, if you do not do it before your senior year, this rule was put into place not too long ago because a lot of kids were getting behind in their English, math, or science and loading up on other courses and then trying to take 3 maths in their last semester of high school, or 4 Englishes their last 2 semesters of high school, or 3 foreign languages at the end of their high school. So 10 of these core, 7 of them from English, math, or science, have to be completed before your senior year of high school. You see, you need at least a 2.3 GPA. That's not real high. The NCAA standards are kind of low, 2.3 GPA. But remember that 2.3 is your core course GPA. It does not take into account any kind of liberal studies classes that are not involved with your social sciences. Your art class, your PE class, your weight training class for football. You can make an A in all of those. Those do not count towards your GPA of your core course. You have to have at least a 2.3 core course GPA. Again, that's your 16 English, math, science, social science additional courses. So please keep that in mind. You may have a 3.5 GPA overall, but a 2.2 GPA because those higher grades are, again, your PEs, your arts, driver's ed, study hall, those kind of things. Those do not count towards your GPA for the eligibility center. And you also have to show proof of graduation. So you have to graduate. So please do that. If you have, through any type of year, it's usually in your junior year to take this many core courses. If you have at least 14 core course units in those areas and you have at least a 3.0, you'll be deemed an early academic qualifier. And all you need to do is finish up your 2 extra additional courses and graduate. The NCAA looks at 14 core course units with at least a 3.0, looking at you only need 2 more You have to pass those to get to your 16, so a passing grade could be a D. Your D is 1 quality point. Even with 2 classes of Ds, with 14 core courses otherwise and having at least a 3.0, you're not going to get down below a 2.3. They know that. That's physically impossible to do, numerically impossible to do. So if you got at least 14 core courses, looking at your stuff now, and you got at least a 3.0 in those core courses, then you could be deemed an early academic qualifier. Now, what that means is you know, we actually have people now who are bringing in next year, 2022, that are already early academic qualifiers. The coach already knows that they're eligible. The coach can look at them and say, okay, I've got money. I can give this kid some money to come to school here because they're an early academic qualifier and they've actually done what they needed to do beforehand. So they're ahead of the game. So that helps the coach. They know who can come in and who cannot, okay? You see also their academic red shirt. That means you have a completed academic record of at least 16 core courses. You have graduated, but you have less than a 2.0. I'm sorry, you have at least a 2.0, but not more than a 2.3. So you're in between the old standard, which is a 2.0, and a 2.3, which is the new standard. I say old and new within the last couple of years. 2.3 was the standard, moved up from 2.0. If you have at least a 2.0 GPA, but not a 2.3, and meeting all the other criteria, that means you are an academic redshirt. That means you can be given athletics aid. We can sign you to a scholarship for the first year, and you can practice at least the first term that you're here or any other school. When you're in college and you meet certain standards after your first term, then you can actually practice the second term, but you cannot compete that first year. That means you're practicing, you're doing everything else with the team, but you're not traveling and you're not competing. Remember that you have 5 years to compete for. So you can have a free year like this as an academic red shirt. Your coach can get you bigger, stronger, faster, and then you can play 4 years of the next 4 years if you meet academic standards at your school. Now, please keep in mind that just because you're an academic redshirt and you're between a 2.0 and a 2.3 does not mean that you're going to get into a college and be able to get money to compete for the next years. A lot of schools are under some financial strains because of COVID-19. A lot of schools for the past year, 2 years, have not been able to raise the money that they usually raise through ticket sales, concessions, parking, mainly for football, mainly for basketball. So a lot of coaches are under a budget crunch through their athletic department. So if I'm going to give you aid your first year and you're not going to play, that's going to be tough because I'm giving you money just to come to school. I'm not getting anything out of you for the money that we're giving you. And a lot of schools cannot afford to do that. So please get above a 2.3 because even if you meet the academic standard of a red shirt, doesn't mean the school of your choice is going to bring you in because they may not be able to afford to give you a free year of money. Okay. You see the 2.0 to the 2.3 as an academic red shirt. You see the 2.3 and above to be a qualifier. That's the minimum standard for the NCAA. That will not, I repeat, that will not get you into most Division I schools. That's not a high enough GPA. Our regular academic standards at North Carolina A&T is a 2.75. So you could have a 2.7, clear the eligibility center, but not be able to get into school. So please bear that in mind. You may meet the standard of one and not meet the standard of the other. So please, again, bear that in mind. Okay, let's see if I can. Stop sharing that. We'll stop share. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if you have any questions. I don't know if you're able to send me any questions. I know there's should be a chat on there. You can type in questions if you want, if anybody has any questions, or you can email me. That's fine. Please don't call my office. You saw my picture on the flyer. That's my website picture. I hate that picture, but that's another story too. My email address is on the website. My phone number is on the website. Please don't call me. I have 3 lines. I'm not going to answer the phone. I promise you. Doesn't matter who calls me. I don't answer the phone. I wait till they leave me a message and I can get back to them, because I'm usually on the other line, or I'm answering email, or somebody's in my office, or I'm working on J.R. Smith. So again, 16 core courses, 4 English, 3 math, 2 science, 1 additional of those 3, 2 years of social science, and then 4 additional courses of any of those. And that includes your foreign language, comparative religion, philosophy, anything that's a core course for your school. And that's about all I have. That's about it. If you haven't registered, please register. I think it costs $75. If you do have a fee waiver from your high school for the SAT, you can use that fee waiver for the NCAA, so you don't have to pay for the NCAA. Let me say one thing too. In previous years, up and before last year, and including this year, and including next year, if you're a senior this year, you'll be going into school in 2022. The NCAA does not need a test score. SAT or ACT does not need it. They're just looking at 16 core courses, your 2.3 GPA, and the graduate. After 2022-23, after that year, if you're a junior this year, junior, sophomore, or freshman, I don't know what the standards are going to be. They try to come out at least a year ahead of time. So we should be getting something April, May, and June of next year to let y'all know. COVID has really messed things up as far as that. And as far as not being able to, kids not being able to get to where they can take the test. They don't want people traveling too far to take a test. A lot of schools, a lot of institutions, you do not need the SAT or ACT test to be admitted. I think we are one of those. You do not need it at the moment. If you've taken it, that's no problem. Send your scores in, because that may make a difference as far as your admissions. And if you've not met the initial eligibility standards, your test score could possibly help us with a waiver if we needed to do a waiver for you, or if we had an argument that we could use to get you eligible. Having a test score may help. I'm not guaranteeing anything. The NCAA, I don't know, sometimes surprises me. Again, I've been doing this for 30 years. I used to have nice, shiny black hair. As you can see, it's still nice and shiny, but it's not black anymore. So you see what I've been dealing with. A lot of the guys out there help me a lot. A lot of the guys out there are kind of set black and white. This is what the rule says. We have no room for compromise. So I've seen kids, I thought we're going to be eligible, no problem. We're told no until we fix something. Then I've had kids, and J.R. Smith, I was pleasantly surprised with his. Thought that we'd have a lot more to do, a lot more arguments to make, a lot more paperwork to send in, and they said yes. So another piece of advice that I can give you, please, after registering now, whatever grade you're in, if you haven't registered, register now. You only have to register once. Another piece of advice I can give you is that whatever you send to the eligibility center, as far as transcripts, test scores, anything they may need from you, you also send to the schools that you are applying for to get in to go to school. Likewise, whatever you send to the school that you're applying to, transcripts, test scores, any other information that they need, maybe W-4 form from your parents as far as financial aid and housing, and to prove what your residency, that you're in state, out of state, that kind of thing. Whatever you send to us as a college, as an institution, or any other college or institution, please also send to the eligibility center. Don't worry about it being, well, I don't know if they need this. If they don't need it, they won't use it. But I would rather you send it in and they don't need it than they need it and they don't have it. Okay? You're going to send them a transcript every semester. That's fine. They'll just put it in your file. That's not a problem. Trust me. Well, I already sent one, and I don't know if they've got it. Send them another one. Please, I'm begging you, please. As Lafayette said, it's better for us to try to get everything done now and work towards the solution of any kind of problem that could come up now, than to them to tell you that you're not certified, and then we have to go back and try to fix something. You are responsible for your grades. Yes, your guidance counselor or your office person is responsible for uploading and sending a transcript to the Eligibility Center. Your transcript can be sent to the Eligibility Center electronically. All they have to do is log in, put your name, tell them what they're sending, and hit a button. Most instances, you're not mailing a transcript to them or to any kind of college. They're hitting a button and it's going to them electronically. Once your transcript is sent and something happens and you look at it and 2 years later and say, oh, wait, I made a B in this class instead of a C, that's a problem, because we have to go back and tell the Eligibility Center why that grade was changed. They don't like grade changes 2 years after the fact, because technically you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent, as far as, well, they want to be eligible and they needed a better grade in this class, so a teacher changed the grade. No, please don't do that. If there's a grade change or a grade change that needs to be done, please do that before you send the transcript anywhere. I'm not saying that your school is cheating. I'm not saying that you're cheating, but sometimes people transcribe numbers or they transpose numbers, and it's supposed to be a C instead of a D, and it's supposed to be an A instead of a B plus. And that, a couple of points, a couple of percentage points could make a difference in whether or not you're eligible. So you are responsible for your grades. Get your transcript, look at it, make sure it's okay. Say, yes, this is what I've made. This is my GPA. These are the core courses that I've taken. Everything should be kosher. Everything's fine. Ask your guidance counselor to send it, and that's cool. Again, if we have to fix something later on, it's easier to fix it now as opposed to trying to go back and try to find the mistake. Make sure the transcript is official and everything, the seal is on it, and have it sent. Another part of the Eligibility Center, and this came about probably 10 years ago. And then getting into the idea, then it was implemented. It was, figured out how to be done. Then it was implemented probably 6 or 7 years ago. Another part of the Eligibility Center is your amateurism certification. Whatever sport that you think about that you may want to compete in on a Division I or Division II level, put that in as a sport that you're interested in, and then they will start working on your amateurism for that sport. If you do that and you follow through with anything they may have asked you about, or they may ask you about, including outside competition. I know if you're a golfer, you have tournaments in the summer. I know if you're a tennis player, you have tournaments in the summer outside of your school. I know if you're a baseball player, you play on summer leagues outside of your school. They're going to ask you about all of those. They're going to make sure that you're not a professional in any sport. So please keep track of those things and please answer their questions. If you are a track athlete, please note that you will be certified as a track athlete. You will not be certified as indoor track or outdoor track. You will just be certified as a track. But please note that cross country is a separate sport. So you must ask for your amateurism for cross country and track if you're a cross country runner and a track participant. Please note that you're not, it's two different sports. They see that just because you're in cross country, they don't assume that you're going to run track. And likewise, just because you're a track person does not mean that you also run cross country. So if you're thinking about going to college and being a softball soccer player or a football track kid, because they're in one's fall and one's spring, or women's volleyball and then tennis, two different sports, fall, spring. Please put both of those down as sports that you're interested in, and the Eligibility Center will work with you with your amateurism on both. During April of your senior year, April 1 is the date of your senior year, the Eligibility Center opens up your amateurism to be final certification area time. April 1, what you will need to do is to go into your website, to go into your page of the Eligibility Center website, your link, and request a final amateurism certification. So April, May, June, July, August, before you get here in August, please do that. Please ask for a final amateurism certification. I remind all of our coaches to remind all of their recruits which are you, to do that. But I'm reminding you now, please, if you're a senior, this coming April, it is October, you have November, December, January, February, March, April. Go back into your link, go back into your page of the website and request final amateurism. It'll take you like 30 seconds. But believe me, I have kids that I will tell April, May, June, July, August, September, October, they're getting ready to compete this weekend in whatever sport. Women's bowling, which we have as a women's sport, is bowling. They haven't completed their amateurism. They're not eligible to play until they're deemed an amateur. So please don't forget that. Again, it's going to take you 30 seconds. However long it takes you to log in and hit a button is how long it's going to take you. Because chances are you're not a professional bowler. Chances are you're not a, chances are you're not a, professional basketball player. So it's not going to take them long to certify you as an amateur. So please do that in April. And once we're done, we move on. Our softball coach is very good at this. By April, May, every one of her kids had been certified as an amateur, and every kid had been certified as a preliminary certification for initial eligibility. All they needed was to show proof of graduation. May, June, all of her kids sent in their final transcript. All of her kids were done by the end of June. That makes my life much easier. So please continue to send in your transcripts after you have registered. Send in your transcript every semester after your mid-semester of your 10th year. Send it in every semester. Make sure it's correct, then send it in. Follow your progress. It's going to tell you, they're going to email you and let you know what is there and what's not there. They're going to ask you if there's some questions on your amateurism. They'll ask you to clarify. If there's something that's mistaken in your transcript, they'll ask you to clarify it. So just get with your guidance counselor and you can fix it. That's not a problem. Again, I'm on the website, but I'll give you this. My name is Tim Metcalf. My email address is tmetcalf. So Tim Metcalf is my email address practically. It's TMETCALF as in Frank. So it's T Metcalf. Just like DK Metcalf, if you're a football fan. I was a fan of Eric Metcalf from 20 years ago and his father from 40 years ago. So it's tmetcalf@ncat.edu. So that it should read like tmetcalf@ncat.edu. If you have a question about any of this stuff, please email me and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. I get my emails obviously at work. I also get them on my phone. I may not answer you quickly, but I will answer you. Again, the Eligibility Center is eligibilitycenter.org. It's pretty simple. It's pretty self-explanatory. It works your way through it, the process. There are time frames that they ask you to do certain things. 9th grade, they want you to go ahead and register. 10th grade, they want you to go ahead and start sending in your transcripts. 11th grade says check with your counselor, make sure you're on track, ensure your sports petition information is correct. End of the year, send in a transcript. I've got a timeline piece of paper. It says 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and it says at the end of one, it always says send in your final transcript. 12th grade, send in your test scores if you need it. Be sure to request final amateurism. After you graduate, be sure to send in your final transcript with proof of graduation. Again, anything you send to them, you send to the school. Anything you send to the school, you send to them. And that's about it.
Well, Mr. Metcalf, I just want to say thank you from EETA, which is Education and Exposure Through Athletics. We serve a total of 21 counties. That's 14 in the state of Georgia and 7 in the state of South Carolina in the central Savannah River area. So every high school principal and athletic director is going to get this, and hopefully they will share this with all of their student athletes and parents so that they can be better equipped for the NCAA eligibility process and the compliance process. And I just can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule for giving us these gems. I truly appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. And please let those schools know if they need to contact me directly, that's fine too. I actually have my master's degree from Georgia Southern, so I know the Savannah base. I know that where that is, the river basin. I know where all that is. So yeah, I used to live in Georgia, so I appreciate all those guys down there. I know they all work hard. So yeah, if they need me, they can contact me directly or contact me through you. That's fine. And if they need anything, any kind of forms like this, if they need brochures or stuff like what what I shared, that's off the Eligibility Center website. They can go in and check it themselves. I'm sure that the Eligibility Center sends them stuff too. But if they have any questions about that or anything, any kind of core course, how the eligibility may determine a GPA, why is this a core course and this not, that kind of stuff, they can always email me directly or again, go through you. That's fine.
All righty. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate it and have a good one.
My pleasure. Anytime. See ya.